show you one to get this started, but really quickly, just to summarize, Random Encounters makes video game musicals. We've been doing it for about 12 years on YouTube. Been doing it full time without a job for about the last like 6, 8. I lost track. Time flies when you're having fun.
6-ish, yeah.
6. So yeah, I write the songs and direct the videos, and I get to be in them sometimes too.
I should not be as close to that.
I am too close.
I am too close. I edit a lot of the videos. I do a lot more of the behind. I'm Nate.
Oh, okay.
My name's Nate. I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I also act, and pretty much any role in a musical that doesn't need to have someone sing, I'll do that because I'm not a great singer. I was Baldy, yes.
Oh.
Well, I am Baldy, and I am Baldy, so yes.
What is the offense at being like Baldy? Is there something bad about Baldy? I don't know.
I mean, he's got Patrick Stewart looks over
but...
here, so can't go wrong.
But I'm Gwen. I also work on the channel. I sing and act in some of them. I also do a lot of the costuming at this point, and just fill in whatever little gaps need to be filled in. Yeah, I do all the stuff.
Cool, and we actually have a special guest here. I'll let him introduce himself. Doesn't sound on.
I haven't been with the channel for a while, but
there you go.
My main job on the channel was when things would break down, that I would fix them.
Yes, he is an exceptional prop master. He's also the sweeping man. So if you've ever seen somebody in a Random Encounters musical sweeping the floor, even if he gets shot by Markiplier doing it, it's that guy. It's always that guy. But he didn't die. You're right. It's like he knows.
Trained in dark arts.
He's trained in dark arts. There you go. Okay, let's just go ahead and show a video so we can demonstrate.
When do you want to start off?
Let's show the one, that shows all of us. Do we, you guys can see that on the screen, right? It looks okay?
Okay.
Pikachu, Pikachu, I'm your loyal electric true. Okay, scary, Gary's Harry, here's a Pokédex.
What do you see here?
A Broadway reject?
Something from TikTok?
I see opportunity. This thing sings, it dances, it drives a car. And look how photogenic it is.
I've seen better.
This Pokemon is worth millions, which is why we're going to steal it. I need that Pikachu.
Prepare for trouble.
And make it double.
That's right.
Why isn't he preparing?
I don't think he knows who we are.
I told you our branding was confusing. Bad guys usually wear black. Now I feel ridiculous.
Maybe a little music will help.
Listen, you little freak. You're coming with us.
Don't bother resisting. No one escapes the redoubtable clutches.
Oh, Team Rocket!
To protect the world from devastation.
To unite all peoples within our nation.
To denounce the evils of truth and love.
To extend our reach to the stars above. Team Rocket blast off at the speed of light. Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Meow, that's right.
Go, 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 Team Rocket. Evil agendas on the docket. We're a 0 out of 10. Go, 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 Team Rocket. Stealing each monster from your pocket till we're blasting off again.
Jump and Jirachi, there are 3 of you clowns. How could you lose him?
I got fat.
I'm wearing heels.
Get back out there, and this time don't let him escape.
To make fun of all your failed romances.
And to teach your kids more Fortnite dances.
To promote the use of fossil fuels.
To peel it on all the pools.
Team Rocket's got bills and they're overdue. We're hiding it on, do we know kung fu?
Meow, that's somewhat true.
Go, go,
tags are worthless. Someone must know how to find him.
About that.
We ain't exactly popular.
No one's going to help us.
Make them!
To inflict the world with indigestion.
I need more shirts.
You respond to every question.
To bring global powers to their knees.
And to burn the sides of a nice grilled cheese.
And a starling dress. Prepare to deal with some real distress.
More or less.
Go, 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 T-Rocket. Evil agendas on a diet. We're a 0 out of 10. Go, 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 T-Rocket.
He's a one.
Send each monster from your pocket. We're blasting off the
Oh, Mr. Giovanni, look what we got.
Well, well, well. I can't believe you nitwits pulled it off.
Pull it off. Okay. Uh-oh.
What is that thing?
It's not really a Pikachu.
Someone get me Butch and Cassidy.
Really basic.
So now, in case you've never seen Random Encounters, you've seen Random Encounters now.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that. Accidentally just came up. I was going to show the living tombstone instead. But,
Oh,
you know.
we'll fix it
Oops.
later. We'll fix it.
So there you go. That's an example. And we love Pokemon. I see some of you guys love Pokemon as well. Some of you really like Pokemon. Not to shame you, but we started the channel back in 2011. Is it? Well, your parents started you back in 2011 too.
Yikes.
Amazing. It was just a really good year.
Oh no.
We started out actually with a Pokemon song, which you saw a little bit at the beginning of this video about Pikachu. And since then we spreaded out. We've spread out to a lot of other famous video games like The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario and Pac-Man, and I'm naming all these really old
Nah.
Five Nights at Freddy's, probably more recognizable than any of those.
I was gonna say like Dogi Dogi Literature
Doki Doki
Club.
Literature Club.
True. And we will show a couple more of the videos to get you some of those other types of songs as well. We've also worked with a lot of big YouTubers that you probably have watched before as well. People like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Matt Pat for Game Theory, and people that have been at
Many
MomoCon like
others.
CG5, and I think Family Jewels is working someplace here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we are going to take some questions from you guys too. But I actually had two people today that I wanted to hear specifically from for a story about making a Random Encounters musical with us. Because two people in the room have worked, besides the three of us, two people in the room have worked on Random Encounters musicals before and could share a little first-hand experience with it. So, can I ask Sweeping Man, give us a little story about what it's like working with Random Encounters directly.
Okay, so I had to think long and hard over which one to talk about. I finally decided that what best epitomizes Random Encounters for me was it was early in the channel, and they had just started doing Dead Space, and so I'm sitting at home, and this is brand new to me. They've done Seeing a Chew and maybe Ganondorf. That's all it's done. And then they call me up in the middle of the night, and they said, Scott, we're about 10 miles down the road from you, and we're filming a musical, and the costume doesn't work at all. Quick, show up and fix it somehow.
True story.
Sure,
That's
why
right.
not? So I get down there, and the costume is the best I can do is kind of make it stick together for the rest of the evening because it didn't fit at all. None of the parts fit on our actor. The helmet was too small. He couldn't move it all in it. And there's nothing really to be done about it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess duct tape is the answer here. We will duct tape this
Is duct tape the
together
answer, cosplayers? Is duct tape
Always.
just
Always
long
the
enough
answer.
to make the musical work and work long enough for you to get through the night. And
What
then
was
I'm
that
going-
costume made out of? Do you remember?
No.
Cardboard?
Cardboard, maybe foam.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure it was
know.
all
It was a cosplay
cardboard.
design.
Somebody just say hopes and dreams?
Hopes and dreams.
Or am I hearing things?
They were broken just like my hopes. Cool. That's a
But-
great story. I remember that night, and it was. Scott came in and took care of that costume because it literally was falling off our actor everywhere on the floor. And he had to go around and pick up the pieces, reassemble them back on our actor, like tape them in place. Like, okay, don't move too much. Does he have to move too much? We're like, oh, he's going to move a little bit. And Scott, I think you stuck around. Did you stick around? To like,
Yep, stick around for the rest of the night.
Oh, man. Thank
Oh
you for
my
doing that
gosh.
again. I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Round of applause for Sweeping Man.
Golf claps. Golf claps.
Let's go
And-
find someone else who's worked on a Random Encounters
I
video.
say the other person we have here is our good friend John. He
Stealthily in the
stealthily,
audience.
he's our secret plant in the audience.
Yes,
charcoal
secret plant. Yeah, no, I have production assisted on several of the Random Encounters videos. I've shot some and then acted in some, and I got to be the beard once, and that was awesome.
Has anyone here seen our Arkham Rock Opera, the Batman song?
Yeah.
He is in
Yeah,
that. He is the Penguin.
I'm the Penguin in the Batman rock opera, and I was actually going to talk a little bit about that one because that was, I think, my most fun experience on one of your videos because you had all of these great people here and all these costumes. You had different versions of Batman, and what I sort of remembered, because I mean Scott was the Riddler, and I just remember not really fully knowing the lyrics that that we were supposed to be singing. So we're filming, and at some point there's like what was in my head was like something Dark Night
Over and
that-
over.
over and over and
That's
over
the
again
chorus,
because
yeah.
that's if I remember correctly, you had it's pre-recorded, so you're like. It's just like one of those, I should know the lyrics. Why don't I know the lyrics? And then Scott and I came up with this fun little dance, and it just was a very, very genuinely good experience because everybody is so into it, and they're all fans of the material, and
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they're all nerds. Every
yeah,
person
it's
there.
it's just an absolute delight to get to take part on any of these in any capacity. So
That little dance that they came up with on the set actually made it in the edit too. If you watch Arkham Opera on YouTube, they did like a little patty cake thing and they did a little spinner. We were like, that's hilarious. We should just put this in the video.
I feel like
So
this
made the edit.
leans into two things that are like still a Random Encounter staple. One is that we let our actors improv.
Yes.
So like we have storyboards and we have things that we're like, we need to make sure we get this specific thing, but we do let them have the freedom to choose their own actions and input their own, personality and stuff into the project. And the second is that the song sometimes doesn't go out to our actors until like the 11th hour. So maybe they don't have time to memorize the song.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
So
They do a great job though with it anyway. Do we want to show another video right away or do we want to hold
we
off?
can.
I think that depends. We want to open up a lot of this panel to you guys and questions. So, do you guys have questions that you want to ask? I see some immediate hands. So,
Sure, let's
Rowan.
go ahead and answer a couple questions right now.
okay, let's.
Sweeping Man will come to you if your hand is up. Maybe. He'll be choosy.
How does the lyrical process go into your guys' songs?
The
lyrical
process.
I know, it sounds so professional when you
It
say it.
does. We'll make it sound professional when you answer.
It's me sitting at my computer at my desk with a rhyming dictionary webpage open, and this one actually I have two different Word documents open too. One I'll have as notes, and one that I'll have as like the lyrics. The lyrics one is usually like empty. There's nothing on screen, and the notes one is full of like terrible lyrics. They're all garbage and like words that just rhyme vaguely together and stuff like that. And like from that, I'll copy and paste things out and go, those are going to be useful. How do I like now fit stuff around it? So that's basically the process.
I actually really love like coming in the middle of him writing lyrics because looking at those two documents is crazy. Because sometimes it'll literally just be like, I like this word. This word I think relates to the subject matter in some way. And so you just have a list of random words. And then like another list that like all rhyme, but it's like every word that rhymes with that you're like, oh, I think I can make this work with the subject or something like that. And you just sit there and you're like, all right, well, there's a song in here somewhere.
Yeah. Great question. Sweeping Man, you want to find another one?
Oh, sorry.
I have two questions, if that's okay.
Hmm?
So, one, how long does it usually take you to like make the costumes on a regular? I know it depends how complex it is, but like, how long is the usual process?
So ideally, I should be able to do the costumes in like a week. That's usually the like amount of time that will make me not stress out, and I'll definitely have them ready for the characters the next day or something like that. Sometimes I'm really, really blessed, and especially if we have a lot of characters that I have to do costumes for, I'll get like 2 or 3 weeks. I know we did one last summer called Disgaea 6, where I think I had 5 costumes I was making from scratch. I don't remember. I didn't get them all done to my satisfaction. I will say that right now. But that I had longer for. And then, trying to think, I think the shortest I ever did was our first Little Nightmares song I got to set. And I was not actually supposed to do the costumes for it in general, but a male raincoat had come in the mail. And I looked at it and went, I think I can make the hood bigger in about 5 minutes. Will you let me try? And he was really nice. And I took a hot glue gun and I cut off a piece from the bottom and I glued it to the hood and was like, ha, now I've made it bigger in 5 minutes. And it lasted till lunchtime. And then I had to do it again. So.
Yeah, cosplay comes apart sometimes.
Yeah, your second question?
How do you guys like decide which game you're gonna make a song about? Because do you guys like play it, then I want that one, or do you go based on popularity?
What do you think, buddy?
Usually it falls into a couple categories. Something like this Team Rocket song is a combination of we love Pokemon. Pokemon is popular, but it's not necessarily something that's like trending on YouTube or super like clickable. Like, you know, for
It
being
might be oversaturated.
Yeah, for being as big of a game as it is, it's, you know, it's overshadowed by a lot of stuff. So something like this one that we already showed is kind of more like a passion project of like, we have a good idea for a Team Rocket song. We really want to do it, so we just do it. Other stuff like, you know, some of our more recent stuff, or even FNAF to an extent, is like, these games are very popular. They're gonna do really well. You want to jump on a trend. So, you know, some of our more recent musicals, like we did one last year for The Man from the Window, which, you know, some people might not even know what that game is, but it's super popular on the internet. All the Let's Players are playing it, and that becomes, you know, the reason for doing that kind of musical. Because I know I said it at the behind the scenes panel, but I'm like, you know, when it comes down to it, it's like we are a business, even though we love doing what we do and we super enjoy making stuff. It's like, it's what we went to college, the two of us at least went to college for.
And those two. The other two that
and
we
those
pointed out
two.
earlier.
So we love to entertain and do that, but it is like, if we don't make enough money, it's like, well, I don't want to have to go get a day job again to also do this on the side still. Like, it's nice to be like, we make enough to fully commit to it.
Sometimes it's a request.
It is sometimes a request.
Yeah.
Some people request Onyx songs.
Scott requested a song for the Pokemon Onyx once. And I don't remember what our trade was, but we actually made it. So.
I think the trade was that he made you an Onyx costume for Go Go Pokemon Go, which we thought was going to be a trending one. And that costume was used a lot and was very good. And then we did an Onyx song too.
Which is not
you know,
very
just
good.
Piggybacked on there.
So he got the short end of that steal.
But I was going to say.
Steelix.
There's actually a third category, which is if a opportunity arises where we're like, oh, there's a really cool way to do this idea that has just come up. I know it was well timed because when the Uncharted movie was coming out, we had some friends in Hawaii who were like, hey, we own a farm and it looks like a jungle. Do you want to come film on it? And we were like, we could film an Uncharted musical there. And then once we decided to do Uncharted, we were like, oh, it'll also cross over with Tomb Raider really well. So we filmed a musical in Hawaii for a week just because people were like, we have a place where you can film it. So we're always on the lookout for things like that too.
There's technically a fourth category, and that is, in the case of Disgaea 6, the company who made the game paid us to. So sometimes you get offered the job by the company to make something to promote their game.
It's true. We will occasionally take money.
Not very often. Just because they don't offer it very often. Do we have other questions?
Right here.
Weeping Man's got some.
What would you say is like the most tedious project you've ever worked on? Like it made you want to just put your hands up and say, forget it, we're done.
Sorry, the most tedious project we've ever worked on?
Bendy and the Ink
Bendy and the Ink musical.
Bendy and the Ink musical was all done with stop motion. It took us about 4 months. Is that what we said?
Yeah, it was about 4 months.
Yeah, it was such a painstaking process. And it wasn't even the first stop motion that we'd done. We did a Claymation Pac-Man musical way, way back. And somehow that one didn't feel like it took so long. Maybe it's because none of them have mouths and stuff. But having to do that many ink monsters on like a really carefully like designed set for
Yeah.
Bendy, like
Honestly,
it was tough.
I feel like your memories of it just fades over time because I will admit he does occasionally suggest we could do another stop motion
I do.
musical. As time goes on, he's like, "Oh, we've done it before. We can do it again." And then immediately after you do a stop motion musical, then you go, "No, there never. I will never touch clay ever again."
That's true.
But definitely, that was the definition of tedious.
Cuphead the musical also was a very sloggy process because we're not great at like 2D or 3D animation or anything really, but particular animation. And we tried to self-animate Cuphead the musical ourselves in After Effects with Photoshop stuff. And it just took a really long time. Getting like that many actors together was difficult. Like Mark was the very last person we were able to get in as a very important role. He plays the devil in it, and the devil is literally the final boss of Cuphead. And so we held out to get him, but it took us like literally 4 months. I think Jacksepticeye was the first person we had recorded. Mark was the last person we had recorded. So, and it stretched like 4 months.
Yeah.
Do we have other questions? This poor guy, I'm watching you. I see you.
Yeah,
We're gonna get back to you.
What made you want to start this whole musical thing?
Money. I wanted to start this because Nate and I grew up making video game parodies on the internet for years, like as like junior high kids or whatever. And so getting to do that professionally sounded really fun. And Nate, you should tell the rest of the story.
I mean, we started originally doing a song called Needle Mouse based on Sonic, and it was not even for YouTube. It was for a Sonic the Hedgehog contest that Sega themselves were holding.
We only did it as a musical. Because
We did it as a musical because we didn't think anyone else would do a musical.
We were right.
We were right. We won. But then about a year later, it was decided that, this was technically, early days of YouTube, not that early, but it was definitely before, like, a lot of gaming YouTubers, gaming music YouTubers existed.
Yeah.
So it was like, we're kind of filling a void. Like, no one's really making video game songs. Like, we should fill that gap. Now, they're like, you're at MomoCon. There's a lot of them now.
And I want to say it's a good thing. I love them all. They do a great job, and we have all, as a community, been rewarded by having so many
We've
talented people
collaborated
make
with
music.
many of them too.
Yeah,
so
it's a good thing, but it has made it a lot harder to pick out projects. In the early days, it was like someone made a musical out of The Legend of Zelda. That's shocking. It was like us and Smosh, I think.
Yeah.
And probably one or two other people, but those were like the biggest ones.
And honestly, I mean, a big reason is it just sounds fun, doesn't it? Like, who doesn't want to dress up as a video game character? I know all of you do because you're here at a convention. And then who doesn't want to sing and dance at the same time? If you're saying you don't, then I don't believe you.
Sweeping Man, before our next video, would you do me a very personal favor and bring the microphone to this fine person in the corner?
Which one?
Who I've been making eye contact with. It's just, you're right in my line of sight. I want to hear from you, my friend.
Hey, were you guys here at MomoCon 12 years ago?
No, I wish we had been.
No?
Yeah, because I remember there was some musical group, 2011 was my first MomoCon, and I remember there was some musical group, and I wondered if it was you guys, like, long time ago.
No, but if anybody in the audience knows who that could have been, that would be... Because they have had music people here before.
Yeah, plenty.
It was people dressed up as video game characters.
Really?
And they were singing, like, modern songs.
Really?
That kind of fit in with the video game.
I have to look this up.
Yeah. I remember, the one I remember the most was the Resident Evil one. And I
Okay.
think it was a guy dressed as Leon and someone dressed as Ada, and they were almost doing like a romantic dance and song.
I don't know.
I'm gonna
Does
Google
that
this
sound
later.
familiar to anybody? No?
I feel like I need to find them. They might be our doppelgangers somewhere. And,
They sound very
we should
talented and handsome.
Probably keep an eye on them.
They must be destroyed.
Well, thank you. No, I want to look that up. So now I have to plunge into MomoCon history and find that out.
All right. Now we're going to force you all to listen to another of our songs. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh, it's the speaker, isn't it?
That was not our song.
We'll get to some more
Thank
questions
you. I worked
after
hard
this.
on it.
So I was thinking of a segue to this next video. You were talking about tedious projects, animation.
I was.
Bendy, tedious, Cuphead, tedious, and people didn't seem to really like our animation style on Cuphead.
No.
So we've had a tendency to hire animators every once in a while. We do primarily still like 98% live action. But every once in a while, there's a project that is like, this is impossible to do in live action. So we hire an animator. And
We went through time and we turned night to day, but there's still one small thing that I feel the need to say. Watch out! Link, watch out! I think the water's rising, Link. Look out! Good news, you're appetizing. Hello? Hey, listen! Don't go to prison. Watch out for those spikes. Yikes! Link, watch out! That monster's pretty frightening, Link. Look out! You're getting struck by lightning. Beware that boulder. It's getting colder. Don't fall off your bike. You're getting poisoned and chased by bees. You're drowning and Mom might kiss your smoke by the go. Here comes some trees. Hey, don't step there. Pay attention, please. You're about to be crushed by the moon. See? Link, watch out! This poster says you're wanted, Link. Look out! This graveyard's pretty haunted. Fluorine can kill you. Listen, Link, will you take this for a ride? Link, watch out! That's quite a heavy door, and Link, look out! You're falling through the floor. Oh, Link, that reminds me. Would you please kindly push this thing aside? Ooh! Link, watch out! Looks like you caught on fire, Link. Look out! You wore the wrong attire. You're panic-stricken. Beat down by chickens. Boy, the shameful rat. Link, watch out! Beware that thorny cactus, Link. Look out! Your shadow just attacked us. Try not to bash those. Welcome to Smash Bros. Don't get shot. Don't hit the phone. Don't make this game. Link, just say, watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
I splish splash in the bubbles. I squeeze my rubber duck. I wash my stinky armpits. Put the
so that's, for those who don't know, we did a live action Ganondorf song, like the second on the
I
channel.
thought you were gonna be like, for those that don't know, that's AJ half naked in a bathtub.
It's true. But that's our live action Ganondorf being tormented by Navi.
There you go.
Because, you know, we can't resist dressing up in a costume even when we animate most of it.
It's true. That song was written back in like 2012, by the way, and like Nate said, we couldn't find a way to make it, to kill an actor that many times on screen. So we're really thankful for Marlene Animates, who had actually animated our Eevee song for her own channel, and we found it from fans, and it's actually more popular now. It's been watched more times than the original Eevee song with actors. And we weren't angry. We were like, you did a great job. Would you actually animate something for us? And she was like, I would love to do that. So we are actually trying to work with her again on another project even right now. Let's get back to some more questions from the audience if anybody's got them. Sweeping Man will find you if your hand is... It sounds like a threat, doesn't it?
It does. Sweeping Man
Sweeping
will
Man
find
will
you.
find you.
Is there anything that you guys have approached that didn't work that you wish did? Maybe that you revisit, try to make work, but just you just can't get it to as much as you want.
Can't get into as much as you want. Are you asking if it's like, oh, we tried to do it and it failed somewhere along the way, or?
So.
Can't find the right angle. It can't make it work.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
sure you have a few that
We
are coming to mind.
Okay, so like one's the biggest project that I really wanted to do for the longest time, but I just don't see a way to do it, is Splatoon. I tried so hard because I like the game so much. But literally turning people into squids and back again is hard. It's just freaking hard. So I'd really like to do one based on Salmon Run, which is the mode where it's all the players just team up against the boss characters, and they're basically out on a dock just stranded, and all these horrifying fish things try to eat them. I'm like, that'd be a great musical. That'd be hilarious.
We
Can't
need
find a way to
horrifying
do it.
fish things.
Can't find a way to do it.
Back to the Salton Sea.
Oh, no.
That's a spot that would work.
We have had musicals where we planned something a lot more elaborate, and then as time went on, it would suddenly be, we cannot do this. We are too constrained for time. We have to start cutting things. Dead Space again comes to mind.
Yeah, that does. And in fact, we have a whole musical that got posted that we started to film, and we're filming it in like 112-degree heat in Southern California, which wouldn't have been that big of a problem. We've done it before. But these two gentlemen were in like 4 layers of costume, some of which involved rubber gloves and rubber boots, and not a good time. And we literally would film for like 20 minutes at a time and then have to go rest in the shade and then come back and film for 20 minutes at a time, that kind of thing. And we got close to the end of the day and we're like, we're not finishing this musical. It's not happening. So they animated a train running them over and we posted that.
Yeah, who here has seen our You and Me, a TF2 song?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
can go
it's
find
the,
it
it's
now.
the medic and the heavy, and like just when they start getting pumped up and he Ubers him, they walk to charge into battle and a train runs them over.
Which is in the game, and it's happened to me like a million times. So I don't know. There's just a map with a train, and I always get hit by it.
But if you listen on Spotify, there's a very epic final verse where they were like supposed to win.
We actually
They did not win
just
anymore.
to plug it. We just did the exact same idea, not the train, but cutting off the last verse. We just did it with a musical we put up for another TF2 song on Friday. So there's a brand new musical that just came out yesterday, and we cut the last verse off because we thought it'd be funnier if something happened.
Yeah.
So if you watch it, I'm not gonna spoil it, but something happens that interrupts the song. Very end. Let's get more questions.
So this is like a question for everyone. What has been like your favorite or like the funnest one in your opinion?
Okay,
like,
so
to
let's
film or
start with this person here with no shirt. They can say what their favorite was, and then we'll move down.
You're talking about a favorite one
It's
to
a question
work
for
on.
everyone.
I mean, my favorite for a very long time, and I think probably will be for a very long time, was our Doki Doki Literature Club musical. The song is just so good. Like, there's not a single way to be like listening to it all day and not have a good day. But also the cast on that was just, I literally hadn't met most of them until that day. Got on set and we were all just gelling so hard. And we're like, oh, we all get to be these schoolgirls, and oh, one of us is gonna get murdered. Oh no, 2 of us are gonna get murdered. Oh, 3 of us are getting murdered. Oh well. Like, it was such a fun day.
I generally say the one I like the most is our Super Mario Bros. Musical. It was long overdue, for a channel that loves to do stuff based on old school games. The fact that we hadn't done a Mario musical until like 8-9 years into the channel's existence
It's a crime.
seemed like a crime.
Yeah.
So AJ was a great Luigi, and I make a pretty good Mario.
They were
and
fabulous.
they were, our version of them, they were like shady door-to-door salesman. There's a word for it.
Do you want to see this
Snake
musical?
oil salesman.
Do you want to see this musical?
I don't have that.
You don't have that musical? Oh,
No,
I
we
thought
didn't-
brought
If
that.
you'd like
Oh,
to
no.
see that
It's
musical-
on YouTube,
It's
everybody.
on YouTube.
I did not bring that one.
Sorry, wasn't trying to
I have
troll.
the one that is Gwen's favorite.
Okay.
But-
Well, I guess we'll get to Gwen's favorite, but not Nate's.
You know, the important one.
Sorry. Didn't realize I was teasing saying we didn't have. I would say one of my favorites is Resident Enos. I don't like to pick favorites, but that one was so much fun to film because Mark and Dodger were just crazy fun to work with. They're very creative people. And we got to just do silly stuff forever. The set was really nice. There's a lot of things I like about that project. So.
Yeah.
Great
John,
question.
do you have a favorite?
I have a couple. Angry Birds the musical. I love the puppets.
You
to
two are
pieces.
enemies.
I love it. And the other one I really love is Minesweeper the musical for several reasons. It's super duper catchy. And then I watched it and I was just like, holy. There were rules to this game? Like, it never occurred to me that, because I always would open up Minesweeper and just click boxes and that's it. I didn't know there was a method to actually playing that game until that musical.
Guess and check.
So, yeah, it's
I'm
just
dead.
click boxes
Okay.
and
Now I need a room consensus. Who's played Minesweeper? Who knew there were rules?
They don't tell you there's rules, but there are.
There's a one to the left.
And my favorite musical is and has always been Pac-Man.
There you go. Pac-Man the musical is a fun one. Who else has a question here? Sweeping man's coming for you. Watch out! Here he comes.
Hello, big fan since
Hi.
literally the beginning.
Hi.
One of the things I love about your guys' channels is the fact that you play around with genres so much. Like Magikarp's song has got that sea shanty feel. You already mentioned the Arkham the rock opera. How do you guys decide on the sound that you're going to associate with every video game?
What a great question. Thank you for asking it. Thank you for being a big fan for so long. Yeah, how do we determine what genre each one's going to be?
I mean, think some games just demand a certain genre, like especially games that have a strong musical presence already. You're like, I can't go too far from this. It clearly needs a certain mood, a certain speed, things like that. Other songs, I think it literally is just like, is this going to be good for the joke? Or is this going to sell the exact feeling that we want? Because like not all of them are jokey musicals, most of them are. But I really think it is, we come up with the catchy idea first for what the main plot of the video is going to be, and then we're like, what's going to suit that the best?
The game and the premise do really write themselves. I was just thinking about this with, like, we just did Pizza Tower, the musical, a month ago, and the main character is named Peppino Spaghetti, and he's Italian. And so we're like, we're going to make a song. It's going to sound very Italian. But the game also, it's a great example because the game also has a really, like, banging soundtrack. Like, there's a whole section called Pizza Time where the music gets crazy and it's like jamming out. And we're like, fans will be disappointed if we don't find a way to work that style of music into the song at some point as well. I was thinking about that with Friday Night Funkin', the musical as well. It's a music game. People love the soundtrack. And one of the immediate goals was we have to make a musical where we can capture the feel of this character says the thing, this character says the thing. This, like, they kind of bounce back and forth like a rhythm game where you have to answer, call and response kind of style. So I think, yeah, they write themselves kind of.
I'm absolutely loving watching the front row react to every time that you say a musical title. I'm like, that one exists.
That one, that's a thing.
So yeah, there's totally a playlist on our YouTube channel that you should just scroll down and be like, hey, they've done that game and that game and that
All
game and that
random
game. Except for you people
songs,
that I
is that what it's
know
called?
have watched them all. But
Yeah. It does get more tricky when you talk about like FNAF the musical because that's like 5 of them or something. And obviously like then it becomes just a matter of what's happening in the scene. And like, so if it's Mark, being haunted by animatronics in, his house and Nate wants to battle, running Balloon Boy, that's going to have a different, vibe to it.
although really weirdly at this point, like FNAF has such a like brand, our FNAF, which is sometimes different than regular FNAF.
But all FNAF a little bit.
Has like a brand, like he has a whole file of like songs that he's kind of started. And he's like, oh, this will be useful for something later, but he hasn't like assigned it to a game or anything like that. And we'll literally be listening through snippets of it. I'll be like, that's a FNAF song.
That's
like
FNAF-y.
it just
Yeah.
entirely is.
Yeah, you can just hear them. Great question. We have
Another question?
All right,
Some
behind you.
Sweeping Man, behind you.
Behind you, watch out.
I'm a bit tired, so this may be worded weirdly, but I find it funny how you just brought up the FNAF musical. I was gonna ask, what was the process for making each of them different in their own distinct ways? Also, I find it funny how you were a self-insert of Purple Guy.
I'm sorry, say what about Purple
I'm happy
Guy?
you were. I find it funny you were a self-insert of Purple Guy, and the question was, what was the process of planning the distinct differences between each night?
Okay, what was the cool? Sorry, there's just I'm hearing all the people cheering downstairs for your question. What is the process for determining the difference of how each night?
I mean, I really think in a lot of ways FNAF has just kind of built on itself. Like after you do night 1, you're like, okay, what's a good addition to night 1? Night 2 is, and we can amp it up in this way. Oh, well now we've done this and this. What's another good thing that fits FNAF? Now you end up with night 3, 4, 5.
I think they alternate a little.
They do alternate a little
Yeah.
between like a little bit more intense, a little bit slower, a little bit more intense. I
Yeah.
think the only one that we were like, no, we have like a really strong concept and we want it to be slightly different is when we did Ground Zero. For those of you that don't know, Ground Zero is like a prequel to everything else we've ever done for FNAF. And it's with CG5 and he has a fantastic voice. And we just kind of wanted to lean into that, but we wanted to see if we could write a happy FNAF song.
Which there are good happy FNAF songs out there.
But
other
we'd
people
never
have
done one yet. And we were like, okay, we have CG5, we have FNAF, we have like early days. Like we can do like the joy of building Freddy Fazbear's kind of. And like it doesn't necessarily end happy, I won't give it away. But like we literally were like on purpose going, no, we're making it happy. So
This is interesting because as I'm still working on current FNAF the Musical stuff, that's part of that prequel series that leads into Mark, night 1, ready, time to get ready. All that stuff. we started out so happy with Ground Zero, and then Web of Lies is a little bit more like something's uncomfortable about this. And I can tell you that going into the next one, Dark Remains, it continues to get kind of uncomfortable. It's kind of not super happy. We're going in a dark direction so that you get the sense that, like, Freddy Fazbear's is a bad place. People die there.
Do you guys not know that? Do you want? Does
Is that
anybody
news to
here want to
anybody?
work at Freddy
Spoilers,
Fazbear's?
Freddy Fazbear's is bad for your health.
That was like an up and down. Like yes, no.
Yeah. That was a great question. Thank you for
All
asking
right.
it.
Well, you can work there.
Sweeping Man, who else has
More
a question?
questions? Way back there.
You have Freddy Fazbear all the way in the back. I'm sorry for insulting your pizzeria. It's bad for our health. It's great for your pocketbook.
Actually, on the note of Web of Lies, it's actually one of my favorites, but I can never tell. Does Elizabeth get out at the end of that?
Yes. I'll just
For
say
how
that.
long?
Elizabeth.
Yes, the
Elizabeth
implication
does
is that
escape.
she does escape the building at the end of Web of Lies. Is what we
it's
wanted
a
you to take
worthwhile
away.
question to ask. Yeah, for clarification, you will see she is free of Freddy Fazbear's at the beginning of the next one. Whenever that comes out. It hasn't filmed yet. Question right over there in the middle.
What artists inspire you guys personally?
What artists personally inspire us? Actually, can we ask you that same question right away? I would like to know. Which one?
Monomarth?
Ooh.
I have never heard of it, but I will look it up.
Monomarth. Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, now I'm YouTubing that right now. Who inspire you guys?
I feel like you have the most obvious answers
I
to that.
do when I write the music.
And you're
I don't
like-
listen to a lot of vocal music. I'll be honest. It sounds dumb coming from somebody who writes like lyrics and stuff, but I listen to a lot of video game soundtracks, a lot of trailer music from movie trailers. I love Two Steps from Hell. It's probably one of my favorite groups in the universe. Thomas Bergerson specifically does an amazing job. As I zero in on composition, I love good melodies. And that's why video game music is so freaking remarkable, is you can take stuff written with like 2 instruments and they can make it like loop a million times, you know, back in the oldest video games, and I still got addicted to those songs. So to me, that melody stuff is really hyper important, and I lock on to people that have good melodies.
I expected you to bring up Toby Fox.
Toby Fox is so good. Yeah, you are correct. Toby Fox does a great job. I would love to work with him. Toby's in the room. Call me. You guys want to answer that? Or?
I mean, I just feel like in general, somebody like Alan Menken, like Disney Renaissance, like Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin.
Gaston song.
Like the Gaston song,
So
yeah.
good.
Like that era of Disney is like, I mean, it was our childhood.
It was.
Yeah. And that era of Disney also like pulled a lot from Broadway. So like
Yeah.
a lot of Broadway plays I at least listen to a lot. Wicked and Into the Woods are like some of my top where I'm like, oh, they're great storytelling and they're great vocal performances and they're pretty epic.
I was thinking like Rodgers and Hammerstein going, and like you went for those, and I was like, that's weird. But okay. It's just a difference between us. Hey, I just think it's cool. Like, I was just thinking, I'm like, you learn from the best. Like, these people you grow up with that are like, they're putting stuff in theaters or on Broadway or whatever, and you're like, this is so good. And I love that the internet has made that even easier to find great stuff out there. So, do your best. If you want to make music, just keep listening to it.
Yeah. And
There's
like,
great people you're probably hearing all the time.
And mimicking your favorites is a really, really great way to improve.
Yeah.
Like learning what you like about them and trying to figure out how to integrate that into the way that you perform or you write or you anything. There's no better way to learn.
Yeah. How many of you guys like run YouTube channels or something?
Okay, a few.
Okay. All right. If anybody ends up with questions about like YouTubing stuff, that's okay too. Sweeping Man, do you have any other questions you think we should?
Sure. Let's see.
Otherwise, they'll be forced to endure another Random Encounters musical.
What's the hardest part of like the entire process of like making a musical, like start to finish?
The hardest part of the entire process.
Whatever we have to do today.
Tomorrow will be easy, but today is terrible. What is the hardest
I mean, I really actually literally think my answer is funny but true. Like,
Yeah.
Every time we get to the next step, it's like, all right, well, we made something. Say we just finished a musical. Okay, so now you have to figure out what your next game is. It's hard. It's like, we do 12 of them a year. So, you're like, I have to make sure it's good enough to be one of the 12 projects that we do a year. And then you're like, okay, we pick a project. Well, now he has to write a song. Well, now it has to be good too. Oh no, we've written a good song. Well, now we have to make sure we have good costumes and good sets and good whatever. Like every time I feel like the pressure just shifts kind of as you go through the project. And then you get to the end of it and you're like, I did it. That's awesome. Like I wouldn't say there's any one part that really stands out that's like, oh, that is the hardest part to get over.
For me, I think lyrics have become harder, and I'll be completely 1,000% honest right now, and it's not throwing shade. I'm a big fan of the Stupendium, but they have made my job much harder. And I think I've told them that too. Been like, you have ruined my life, but you also make me really happy. So the more people get onto YouTube with more talent and more technology and more training and add their stuff, and the world sees how much better they could still get things, like the Stupendium can lyrically run circles around me. And with that crazy wordplay and all these puns and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, now people expect that. They were happy here until the Stupendium showed up and was like, how about I make 700 color puns in like 2 sentences in 30 seconds and just rap them all myself. And I'm like, now the bar's up here. Now I have to be able to come up with like 30 color puns as well. So I think that has made lyric writing much more difficult as we get more and more nerdcore artists that are exceptional at wordplay, and they can just flow. And the audience expects everyone should be able to do that now because some people can. And I'm like, our thing, Alan Menken, the Gaston song doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it really doesn't.
It's something that we constantly bring up or try to help AJ out. Is like a lot like the Stupendium is it's rap. It's
great stuff.
Generally just rap music, and that's we do a rap song occasionally, but we do fall into that Broadway show tune kind of mold where it's like, well, one song of the musical might be rap, but the next might be like a jazz number, or it might be like, this kind of genre, and musicals do that.
A love song.
And that's like, that's why we follow that mold of like, it's not a rap song every month. It might be a shanty or, this or the other thing, a disco song. So
which we have done.
The Stupendium is working on a musical theater inspired project. I know from watching their social media. I'm excited to hear it, and I know it's going to make my job even harder.
Shush. We want to show another one. We're winding down on time.
Which one do you want me to show?
All right, so one more video. We'll say one more video, and then
one
nothing but questions. I want to make sure we get as many as we can from people.
Okay.
That's the one. Okay, here you go.
I'm so glad you're joining the literature club.
Hey, I never agreed to join.
Oh, wow, Sayori, who's your friend? He's our club's newest member.
Yeah, of course you can sing along.
Not set in stone.
This is Monika, Yuri, and Natsuki. And you already know me. Welcome to our meeting. Are you into reading? No need for being coy. We'll improve your uptake. Have a freaking cupcake. And must you bring a boy? Time to write some poems. Don't be scared to show them. The festival stays away. You could help with baking or with banner making. And I'll walk home alone today. Maybe we're friends, maybe we're more. How can he love a simple girl next door? I'm just not the type he's looking for. Hey, Sayori, you doing okay? I'm having a difficult day. I'd say you seem pretty lonely.
I wish I could make her grin. All she wants are things back the way they've been.
She's depressed and stressed and she's feeling blue, so I don't want Sayori hanging around you. Just Monika, 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 just Monika. I'm so glad you're joining the literature club.
Wait, what happened to
Who? There's no one here named that. Manga is my passion, don't you dare be fashion. The writing's got finesse. Maybe you should borrow these until tomorrow. Were you hooking up my dress? Let's go read a story.
What about
Let's talk about me instead. I've been learning piano and I sing soprano, and I can't get
Natsuki is next, I'm deleting her too. We don't need cupcakes or poems or tea. I only need you to love me.
Wow, that's a lot of Crunchyroll you've been watching. You're really taking advantage of that free verb trial.
Hashtag sponsored.
There's no one else in our way. So look at me and just say, right here, my dear, that you love me. And we'll sit here till the end of time, 'cause I've earned this and you're finally mine. And I'm sorry what you had to see, but it no longer matters, 'cause now you belong to me. Just Monika, just Monika, just Monika, just Monika, just Monika, just Monika, just Monika.
Well, look what the cat dragged in.
Sayori? You're still in the literature club?
Of course, I'm the president after all.
Well, Sayori, who's your friend?
He's our newest member. I'm guessing that's not set in stone.
This time, I think it is.
Why don't you join us? I was just getting Natsuki here into my favorite horror novel.
Hey, it's not like I like it or anything. So, are you walking home with anyone after this?
Just my friend Sayori.
Just Sayori, 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 just Sayori.
Yeah, people tend to like that one.
I don't know why. It's okay.
Do we have any other questions we want to wrap out this panel with? Sweeping Man will come to you if your hand is up.
Was it fun working with Stupendium and Little Misfortune?
Yes.
The Stupendium is fun just to be in the presence of. I'm going to be real. Working is probably the least fun thing to do, and yet the Stupendium is excellent to work with as well. Has delivered so dang many files. We asked, I think, for maybe 1 or 2 takes, and they sent like 15, and they were all gold. So exceptional person to work with, but twice as exceptional to hang out with, to be honest. That's we hang out more than we
Maybe
work
one
together.
day
It's
we'll get to work with them in like live action, because the only two
That'd be
musicals
awesome.
they've been a part of were just voices.
Voice
so.
roles, yeah. Can't wait to do like actual acting with each other on set sometime.
Yeah.
Great question. You should all subscribe to the Stupendium, by the way.
Hi.
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 Reese. What's
Dr.
up, buddy?
Nick.
I just want to say, okay. So my question is, how do you guys deal with work-life balance?
Great question. Yeah, it's a
All right.
difficult one.
So we've been asked this a couple different times, and I always preface it with, we are really bad at it. We are 3 people who all work on the same channel, who also all live in the same house, which means it is extraordinarily easy for like a 2 a.m. to roll around and for us to just be like, yo, I have this idea and we need to do it now. And like usually work gets pushed to the front, and I like to say that we work hard, play hard, which means we work until we kind of
Earn
can't.
the right to work.
Earn the right to
live.
But then we take breaks. We live very close to Disneyland out in California, and that is very good for us because it's very hard to do work
Yes,
standing
praise
in
Riding
line.
Thunder Mountain.
Praise be to the almighty mouse.
But yeah, we are still working on it ourselves. But I think one of the things is just paying attention and being like, what can you do that will be good enough? It doesn't have to be perfect. AJ.
No, but we take fault here because I am thinking it's a lot like crunch time at video game studios. You hear
Yes.
about that, and we're guilty of it too, of going, well, we really want the musical to come out this week. We don't want to tell people it's delayed. So everyone's working a 20-hour shift today. And it's terrible. It's a really bad way to do it. It's unhealthy. It would be much better just to say it comes out a day or 2 late and not on a Friday. And it weirds people out, and the algorithm gets mad, but it happens. But more often than not, we go, I guess I'm working all day, and I'm not eating, and I'm going to bed.
I feel like a certain extent of this can be the YouTube algorithm is a problem in this regard, because like if we could just make what you wanted every month, not caring whether or not it was the most popular trending game, you could probably be like, all right, this is our idea for a musical month. This month we're doing it. But a lot of the time it's like, well, if we do that, it's gonna bomb. So the last minute choice of what we're making sometimes can be a problem of
Yeah, or there's a game that just pops, immediately, and you go,
Yeah.
quick, what can we pull together as fast as possible for that, and change all of our plans, which we kind of were in the middle of in this last one. We didn't have an actress lined up for our next musical. And then we did have an actress lined up suddenly, and we're like, "Oh, quick, change gears! Like, get the costumes, pull it together." So as soon as I get home, we got a lot of music to write really fast.
They're still agreed to that?
Yes, we're still on board.
Do we want to reveal to them, or is that weird?
I don't know. Is it weird?
I don't know. Is it like a convention exclusive to tell them what?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's not that many people in this room. They can't
Yeah, I
spread
was
the
gonna say
information
Gwen is
too
legal.
far.
Gwen is our legal department. So if legal
Yes.
says yes, then
what?
It doesn't change anything.
Nah.
Streaming is A-okay.
But thank you for telling me that. More people have been watching me than I thought. Hello, people that have been watching me. I hope you're having a great time wherever you are.
All right, so Gwen, do you want to tell them what we're working on right now?
Yeah, we are very excited to be in the midst of scheduling and writing an Amanda the Adventurer musical.
We know people have been asking for it. We know a lot of Let's Players have been playing it. It looks like a really cool game.
It does.
It is good. Like,
And,
I've been wanting to play it myself. I was kind of hoping I get time while I was here, like in my hotel
We'll
room.
make 'em play
but
it
I'm
later.
having more fun with you guys out in the
Yeah.
convention.
But we've been wanting to do this one literally since we did a Call to the Lamb musical at the end of last year. You should watch it. It's very good. But since we had to make a lamb costume for Call to the Lamb as well, we were like, it would be perfect for Wooly. Like, let's make it count twice.
Yeah. So, great question. More of them? Sweeping man is coming to find you.
Sweeping man is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so you may not remember, but since the FNAF musical came out a while ago,
Lifetimes, huge
yeah.
amounts.
Did it? I don't remember.
But how long did it take you guys to make the puppets, and did they end up falling apart as the years went on, or like did you have to remake them, or?
Those are wonderful questions. We
They
actually
are.
talked about having just a FNAF the musical panel at some point.
We did. We also talked about literally bringing the puppets to this convention. So I
Yeah,
want you to
didn't do
know
it.
they
Sorry.
are
Sorry, no, we
alive
failed you all.
and
Sorry.
well, mostly. So we were very lucky. We didn't actually have to make the puppets ourselves. We had a friend named Mikey Ledoux, who some of you might have seen as Santa Claus in our Up on the
House, yeah.
Yeah. Really fabulous guy, really talented. Also helped us build sets a couple times. He's pretty much your go-to guy for like, oh, I have no idea how to do a thing, please. And he made all those puppets for us, including all the puppets that we had made extra for Ground Zero. So it took us no time. It
He
took us
also
the time it took to hand him money.
He also 3D printed Bendy for us, by the way.
He
so we have
did.
several Bendy models for the stop motion Bendy musical.
For how they have held up, well, one of them got their head cut off in the musical. I don't know if you noticed. It's fine again. We had a little surgery. And the other ones really are actually holding up really well. There's a couple of places at the seams that I'm going to be going in and repairing before we film more FNAF soon-ish.
Hopefully.
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 But otherwise, it's like Freddy has an ear that likes to flop over a little bit. Bonnie's bow tie needs retying, like stuff like that. Like they're actually like phenomenal puppets.
Great question.
How do y'all go about like choosing locations to film, or like rent? I'm assuming y'all rent out spaces sometimes. Like, yeah, don't rent no spaces. Okay.
Our house.
Or like
We rent out our house.
like the kindergarten video where like in an empty school, or like videos where you have to change on a dime, like the Frambo where you were outside and then it was inside.
Mhm.
Like, how do y'all go about thinking like, oh, this would be a good place, and maybe or maybe not get weird stares from people?
This is a really good question because as you're seeing, there's a lot of people in the Hollywood movie industry that are all filming their movies and TV shows out here now in Georgia. Because California, especially Los Angeles, is terrible to have to film in. So gradually over time, as they get stricter about film permits, insurance, things like that, having police shut down shoots that aren't properly like being monitored by the LAPD for things and stuff like that, we have gotten to film more and more on sets in our garage. It's not ideal. Not a big fan of it, but filming out in public is getting a little bit dicier, especially I think as things like TikTok and YouTube have gotten more professional. It's like police and film commissions and stuff are more nervous by the internet than they ever used to be.
So literally, if you look, especially in the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, I would say 80 to 90% of those are filmed either in our garage or in our kitchen, which is great. We've gotten really good at like rearranging our furniture. Our cats are very confused. We redecorate the walls. We change the lights. You can do so much by changing the lights. I'm going to tell you all that right now. You can make your whole house look really different by changing where the lights are and what color they are. But we love shooting on location. I know you brought up kindergarten. I'm not sure if you're talking about 1 or 2. One was filmed in their old college that gave us permission and was wonderful. They were great to us. So remembering your old contacts is a very good thing for us. And 2, we actually got really, really lucky. We literally filmed in a defunct elementary school that a friend of ours found and was like, it's being used for office space now, and a lot of it is still looking like a school, and they'll let you come film. And we were like, okay, and then flew to Illinois. So we take advantage of a lot of people that know things or people that have spaces they're willing to let us into, but we also just rearrange our furniture.
And we've started actually, we're in the middle of talking to somebody right now, which I don't think I've really talked a whole lot about. It's been kind of hush. But we have somebody that we met last year that actually is working with us right now about some office space all the way out in Missouri. And so we are starting to do more traveling out to people that have just cool spots to film in, knowing that it's a lot easier to go travel to that spot than it is to find it in California and somehow get permission to film with it.
All right. We have 2 minutes left of this panel. So we either do one really quick question or we say goodbye. Does anyone have a really quick question? And we'll speed
One question
round?
will be really quick. I'm so sorry.
I was just wondering, like, what are you guys' favorite video game OSTs?
Oh, favorite video game soundtracks.
Don't start with me.
I was gonna say yours is totally Toby Fox's. Like anything.
It's not.
No.
It's not though.
Oh, I'm lying.
The most I've ever paid for a video game soundtrack was Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars. It is my favorite game of all time, and I love the music so much from it. And it is very hard to come by. But I've started collecting a lot of video game soundtracks, and that one I think is the one I paid the most for.
Okay, then mine is either Undertale or Hades, and they are completely different vibes, and don't ask me how that works, but I love them both to bits.
We did have Undertale music as we walked down the aisle at our wedding.
We did.
Yeah. We played that at our wedding. We did walk down the aisle.
We did not walk down the aisle to Megalovania. Can you imagine?
That'd be so cool. We're so lame. We should have done that. Nate, what's your favorite video game soundtrack?
My favorite video game soundtrack, I feel like, is for the indie game Celeste. It's just really good. It's a really good game. It's probably one of the best games ever. So,
well, thank you, everybody, for coming to our panel today. It's been great to see you all. We're going to wrap things up, and if you want to take a picture, maybe we'll...
I think,
go to the
yes,
back
I
of
have
the
already
room.
told a couple of people here that we will take photos, and we are more than happy to do that. We are more than happy to sign things. We also have an autograph thing tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., which is free. You can bring something for us to sign, or we have things for you that we can give you.
Special things.
Special things.
That are free.
But we are going to, I think, do we have a panel right after this? We're going to clear the room so that
All right.
everybody else can have this
Yeah.
space, and so we'll go into the hall and we'll wait for you there.
So from 11:30 to 1 tomorrow, we will be able to see you down at Autographs.